Casey. Now, they've told me that you guys have been working on a smart building market survey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we worked with UL, Intelligent Buildings and Anixter, and it was really an interesting study where we wanted to capture the true state of the market today.
Okay.
I think we've all been talking about the idea of the intelligent building for years.
Sure.
We've all been here at this event, hearing all the exciting advancements, but we're not seeing completely mainstream adoption.
Right.
So we really wanted to get a sense of what is the customer perspective, what are the big challenges, how aware are they of the benefits, what are the justifications that they see that would help make investment happen. And so that was really what we wanted to do. So we interviewed a variety of stakeholders in the market, and we surveyed 500 decision makers across the US and Canada.
Wow, that's a lot of
A lot of perspective.
Tell me something you found out that you weren't expecting to find out. What were some of the surprising findings?
I think, we had a sense of some of the challenges that are at hand. I think there's still a lot of confusion in the market.
Yeah.
But I do think we're at a tipping point. You just think about the way in which we all use technology. And I think that there's this pressure to translate that into our built environment. So you see this focus on the experience. But with that comes some challenges. And I think the whole issue of cybersecurity is really a priority.
Yeah.
And I think it's transitioned a little bit from realizing not knowing even what to ask, to saying, I know I need to start developing a strategy, and how do I get there?
I see. Not just a security strategy, but a smart building strategy.
Smart building cybersecurity strategy.
So what are the impediments? What are the psychological impediments that you see that probably don't need to be there? What are some things that people are telling themselves that actually may not be true?
Well, I think a huge challenge in the market is change management. When you start to talk about this level of connectivity and the amount of automation and the way you're marrying and the convergence of IT and OT, it's a different set of skills, a different set of decision making, and I think bringing those two groups together is still a challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily a challenge for the technology as much as it's truly a change management issue in making sure that the decision makers are aligned, that they understand how these investments impact their bottom line and even their brand, really.
How do you guys help people with that change management?
So we evaluate how that would work, but I think there's a lot of companies out there that can be a partner.
Yeah.
And you could effectively outsource some of these elements, so you could utilize a third party to, maybe it's a managed service around cybersecurity for your smart building. Maybe it's, having a new partner that ensures that your IoT platform is effective and scalable. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for a partnership and really kind of outsourcing in a new way.
Talk to me about what excites you about what you're doing at Navigant.
Well, I think I'm fascinated by what's happening in the market. So the idea that I get to talk to companies that are bringing new solutions to market and talk to customers and understand what's the challenge is great.
Yeah.
I mean, fundamentally, we have this enormous challenge ahead of us with climate change, and the built environment has such a huge impact on our overall carbon footprint.
Yes.
And the smart building environment in particular is really exciting because you can sort of take away some of the political elements of it in the US and talk about the business justification. There's a huge impact these technologies have that are strong for your business, while at the same time improving the carbon footprint of your building.
It's so odd that we have to actually worry about doing something good feeling political, but you're right, when you change it to a business decision rather than a political one, it takes the teeth out of it for everyone. Is there anything else that you've learned in conducting this research that surprises you, delights you, or gives us a little viewpoint into the future?
I think that customers are aware, they're starting to recognize a significant portion are recognizing there is a competitive differentiator by having a smart building strategy. So people really do get it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a recognition that the way in which you develop an experience for your occupants, whether they're students, employees, customers, really is your brand. And that recognition, I think, will drive the investment because you suddenly start to see this connection between your bottom line and these technologies.
How can people work with Navigant? How can they partner with you? How can they best use what you do?
Sure. So we have our syndicated market research, which we have ongoing assessment of different elements of the market, looking at market sizing and forecasting, looking at the competitive landscape. That's all off the shelf in a subscription-based model. And then we do custom research, like what we were talking about with this state of the smart buildings market.
Any last thoughts as we begin to drive toward our next group and our next topic. Any last thoughts that you'd like to add?
I think it's just been an exciting time. It's really great to see how much this has grown
Yeah.
as an event, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for partnership. You see this ecosystem evolving around enabling technologies, and it's excited to see where things go.
If you had to look out and say there's one theme that you're really seeing emerge in 2019, what is it?
I do think that it's a lot about how are things being positioned, and this whole focus on experience really resonates, and
Yeah.
it kind of connects all the dots, right? It's a part of, if you get the technology right, you improve the experience. If you improve the experience, you get the business story right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's an interesting development, and you hear it all over this floor.
Fantastic. Casey, thank you so much
Yeah,
for joining
absolutely.
us. Casey Talon from Navigant.